Hail, hail, the Celtics are here, and what the hell do we care now, guys? We only signed 9 new players in the summer, so we should be able to handle a little bit of fixture congestion and a couple of injuries, you would like to think. We had an absolute snooze fest at the weekend, 0-0 draw away to Hibs at Easter Road. It was always going to be a difficult game. We knew this portion of the season was going to be very difficult, coming back from that last international break, going away to Tynecastle, welcoming Atletico Madrid, going away to Easter Road, and then very quickly, this next little period of games we've got, the manager's been talking about it, we've got injuries to Reo Hatate, and it's really showing up the quality and the transfer recruitment that we did in the summer, because without our key playmaker, our key talisman, what is the answer? In the video today, we're going to have a wee look back at what we've seen at the weekend, so that we can try and preview and do a predicted 11 for Celtic versus St Mirren this midweek. At any point in the video, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 10,000 subscribers, and we cannot do that without your support, guys. So if you do enjoy the content here, hit the subscribe button for more. Jump into the comment section and let me know what your predicted score is going to be for Celtic v St Mirren this week. I'm actually quite pleased to say the preview we did for Atletico Madrid, I think I was the only man in town saying it was going to be a low-scoring 2-each draw. So yeah, let's hope we get another good one today, guys, and let's just get stuck into it. It wouldn't have surprised anyone at the weekend that we started Paulo Bernardo in here. I did hold out a wee bit of hope that we might have played McGregor in that forward position and played Iwata in that pivot, centre defensive position, centre defensive midfield, but we went with Bernardo. And this is the way the team went. We expected we would go full strength away to Hibs. It's not going to be a game you take lightly. And in the opening kind of 15-20 minutes of the game, it did really feel like the whole team was very spread out. I did give Hibs a lot of credit for how well they pressed us, because it did feel like every Celtic player was very isolated across the pitch, and we really couldn't string more than 3 or 4 passes together. In the first kind of 20-25 minutes, Alistair Johnson got the ball blootered off his face, in case you missed it, and Ralston played the majority of this match and put in an okay enough performance for backup right back. So that was the kind of beginning of Celtic really struggling to find a route to goal in this game, because in the first half especially, having Bernardo out here along with Palma, both these guys are really fresh in the door, haven't got many minutes on the pitch, never mind many minutes actually together. These guys are meant to be playmakers, the key part of our kind of route to goal, to try and get guys like Kyogo, O'Reilly, Dyson, some more of the kind of finisher-based players into the final third to actually optimise their strengths, as it were. But these two guys don't mix at the moment. Maybe they will over time. Maybe that's not too big of a problem, depending on how, if Hatate's fit, maybe somebody else comes in for Palma midweek. We'll talk about that shortly. But it did feel like on this left-hand side, as soon as Johnson came off, everything we were trying to play was coming down the left-hand side here, and it really felt like we couldn't get anything to stick. We couldn't get anything to run. Paulo Bernardo really frustrated me at the weekend. It really did feel like Hatate's normally got a lot of energy in this forward line to try and help the front line actually press, and he's got good energy for coming back into position, never being caught out of position, and when he needs to be, he can be really feisty in these areas as well. Win the ball over, play it, and keep up with the play and be effective again in a later phase of play. Bernardo feels much, much slower. It feels like you have to involve him in whatever the game is at the moment. It's not what we would call too much of a progressive player, where he could start off down here and progressive play up the pitch, dribbles, 1-2s, that kind of thing. I never seen him pass forward ever when we got into the final third here, and I really expected to see this guy playing those sorts of balls for Kyogo when he was making runs, or even out into any of the wide players, or even little nice give and change inter goes with O'Reilly. I didn't see enough of that kind of thing happening. And even McGregor felt very isolated. So I wasn't too surprised to see eventually that he did get replaced for Turnbull, because we've seen from Brendan early in the season and in pre-season that he liked this midfield three, and it was a very gung-ho midfield three when we had Abada, Maeda and Kyogo as the forward line, and it felt like he was going to go and try and use that kind of tactic, and Turnbull, I honestly don't remember him touching the ball. Don't think it affected the game much. And Dyson, for me, Dyson and Kyogo are head and shoulders our best attackers in any position, in any formation, in any combination that you would care to think of them as. So when I seen Dyson Maeda come off in the 57th minute, I really did feel this was a minute management thing. Brendan probably had his hands tied by, the sports science department, that this guy actually needs to come off the pitch now. He's clocked up so many minutes, and if we want to keep playing him and still getting a good tune out of him, He needs to come out of the game now. And James Forrest was unlucky with a shot he had. He didn't really add much to this game, but he definitely did what was asked of him. A wee bit more quality, a little bit less ring rust. He might have been a little bit more lucky, and we might have been talking about him as the hero, the saviour of the game. So, I don't want to really cast much on Forrest's performance in this because he got good minutes. He was on the ball a few times. Yeah, he wasn't world class. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm getting at. When I went to the Atletico Madrid game last week, I was actually very surprised in person to see Palma actually run. I thought he was actually quite quick in person. I thought he actually had a wee bit more pace than perhaps I gave him credit for. But again, at the weekend, it's almost becoming a meme that he can't actually dribble and get past a man and then deliver a ball. He has to dribble and just buy a bit of space and deliver or move the ball on. He can't actually go by somebody. And I think, again, he just doesn't seem to be a winger. The lack of take-on ability that he has, quite often the way I like to think of it, when you've got a guy like Jota, who we had last season, there's been plenty of good wingers around world football, but when they're one-on-one with a fullback, they can just kill him. They can just kill a man. They can get by him. They can take the space. They can get to the box. They can make something happen with quality delivery that he clearly has in his boots. There's no two ways about that. But I was so frustrated. You cannot involve him in build-up play if he can't beat anyone. All you're going to do is give him the ball. He's going to be faced up by someone, and he's going to have to give it back to somebody else. So when he came off for Mikey Johnson, I thought, Mikey Johnson's actually got a fair attempt here at maybe influencing this match because he will dribble. He will take a man on. He will try and kill a man and get into the box and make something happen. So, I know we really want much better quality and depth and substitute choices than Mikey Johnson, David Turnbull and James Forrest. But all these changes individually, I kind of get the logic in them in terms of the selections that the manager has at his disposal. There's not anything we can do about it at this moment in time. We are not in a transfer window. But the substitution that really did confuse the life out of me was Kyogo coming off in the 65th minute for O. Now, I get the whole minute management thing for Dyson and Forrest because Dyson plays a lot of 90 minutes and puts in way more miles and energy and effort than anyone else, right? There's no two ways about that. Kyogo also puts in a lot of effort and energy, but nowhere near to the extent as Dyson. And Kyogo has not got anywhere near the amount of 90-minute matches that Dyson Maeda has. So at 0-0, taking off Kyogo, I thought was very unnecessary. And maybe if O gets the goal, it looks like a masterstroke because Ange substituted Kyogo for O or for Jack Marcus a bunch of times and it worked out. So again, in theory, I kind of get it. But when it happened, I was just like, whoa. Way too early to be taking Kyogo off. But at 0-0, if you want to put O on, is there another change that could be made somewhere else in the pitch to try and get that extra target man on and, double up your numbers up there? So that was the main one that really surprised me. Now, who knows if Marco Tilio will make any impact on this Celtic team? I do hold a bit of faith that Yang will make the grade. We've given him minutes so far, and I was really confused that he never got more minutes in that game there. One of the things that's probably held O back in that fixture there is he's not been getting any minutes. Yang has been getting minutes, has been somewhat developing, and I was a wee bit surprised not to see him ahead of somebody like Mikey Johnson, for example. But we do really miss Abada. It's clear to see when you look at the forward options we've got. Without Abada and without Palma being able to actually dribble past anyone, it really does feel like up front is very, very thin. But I think it does clearly show you that Mikey Johnson and Forrest now, where the squad is at, they're the next layer. They're the next layer of attack for us. The sooner we can get Abada back, the better. But it's a totally different story when we look into midfield because with Hatate being injured, it's a real revolver kind of option of, is it going to be Turnbull that partners O'Reilly in midfield? There is me and a few others that want to see Iwata come into the team and partner McGregor. Let McGregor go a bit further forward. And obviously we have Paulo Bernardo featured the weekend, maybe more likely to start since he did press media duties ahead of the St Mirren game. He's probably very likely to start the game. But we also have Odenholm and Kwon. Now, Kwon's probably bombed out at this point, but Odenholm, I know the red card was very bad in the Champions League, but it seems to be that he's fell off the face of the earth. And early season, before Bernardo came in, Odenholm looked to be getting some minutes as a doppelganger, as a fill-in for Hatate. So again, similar to Yang, we have invested a bit of playing time, a bit of minutes into these guys already. And I'm just confused why that's derailed. Obviously, I'm not at training and stuff like that, so who knows? Maybe we'll see them sooner rather than later. But it doesn't feel like the same level of quality as Hatate. And we've seen time and time again over the last 2 or 3 seasons from Celtic that without Hatate, we're a totally different team in terms of how we attack and how we actually play. Now, we had a fantastic statistic last season. I can't quite remember where it was, but it was something like in the league, Celtic are undefeated in midweek matches. since like 2016, or might even be that we've won every game since 2016 or something like that anyway. So midweek at Celtic Park under the floodlights is always a great venue, and we always, get a little bit extra out the boys with, no Hatate, some of this minute management stuff that we're talking about. Rodgers is saying that we're going to be rotating in this period. There is a few questions that do go across the team, but playing St Mirren, I think you take no chances. So my predicted 11 for Celtic at home to St Mirren: we're going to go with Joe Hart in goals, Greg Taylor in at left back, Liam Scales in left centre back, partnered of course by Cameron Carter-Vickers. Now I'm kind of 70-30 on this one, but I think Alistair Johnson will be favoured to play right back. Playing St Mirren, like I said earlier, this is a team that has been a banana skin fixture for us in the past, and I don't think you take any chances. He seems to be well and healthy and fit and capable, so I think he'll start. Captain McGregor, of course, will be running midfield alongside Matt O'Reilly. Like I mentioned earlier, Paulo Bernardo was on media duties for this game, so I think he will retain his spot. And this is a real audition for him. He's at home, he's starting, it's a domestic game. This should be the sort of match that we see him pass forward. This should be the sort of match where he looks to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, show Celtic Park, show all of us as Celtic fans what he's about, why he should be wearing the jersey, why we should sign him, and why he can actually help us. Kyogo, of course, will start up front, and I think he's going to persist with Dyson Maeda on the right and Luis Palma on the left. I think he is going to try and double down on this being the first team getting a few more competitive minutes against St Mirren before probably seeing some more rest and rotation for Ross County at the weekend before we go away to Madrid. I think Palma is the wild card option in this team. Would not rule out Yang, Forrest, Mikey Johnson, any one of them perhaps coming in for Palma, because he's clearly shown an inability to dribble and beat people, and it is clearly slowing the team down without Hatate in here. So unless Bernardo can do the Hatate role or even excel and do better, I think it's quite hard to carry Palma in this front line. With this being the team that will play at Celtic Park against St Mirren, in the sort of form we're in, I don't think we'll see 90 minutes out of O'Reilly. It feels like this might be his Dyson Maeda minute management match coming up, perhaps. If we get the result in by 60, 70 minutes, I think O'Reilly could be an easy substitute, maybe along with McGregor in this match as well, which makes me think we'll probably try and get a couple of goals early enough, and the game will probably dry up and die out as the game kind of, rolls on, as it were. So when I kind of think about that, midweek under the floodlights, Kyogo didn't score at the weekend. Nobody scores at the weekend, obviously. I think I could see Celtic maybe scoring 1 or 2 in the first half, maybe getting 1 after our half-time. Yeah, I'm going to go Celtic 3, St Mirren 0. Let me know what you think the score is going to be on Wednesday night. On screen there now, some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. If you're going to the game, travel safe, have fun, stay out of trouble. Hail, hail.